Hey guys, Marissa with Discovering. Uh, anyway, I am sitting over here right outside. There's my condo. If you look up there, let's see, it's just past where you can see like those little balconies and stuff right there. But it's really cool because I want to show you the view that we have of the ocean, not from down here, but when we get up by our house, it's so beautiful. Reason why I'm showing you this is because this is me and my husband's biggest fight. That we shouldn't have moved. If we wouldn't have moved, then we wouldn't be financially stressed, which we're not. He is. So he's projecting on me that financial stress because in the roles that we play in society, what men take care of women, right? If you are being taken care of a woman, if you're being taken care of by a woman and you're a man, then you're not a man, right? Like that's pretty much kind of like the gist of the 50s, like the 50s, the 60s, 70s. Like, I mean, when I was growing up, my parents split the bills in that my dad paid for housing and cars and my mom paid for the utilities and our clothes and food. She'd then go run up all the credit cards and then he'd pay them off and stuff like that. So there's kind of just like this, one father passing off the daughter to another man to take care of her. And I mean, that's just kind of the way it was up until like all the women's rights stuff started coming through. And I've got a bone to pick with the women's rights stuff because not only now do we have to be women, we have to be men too, because these women want to, rather than taking on the responsibility of men or wanting to be paid like men, they think they need to look like men, dress like men. It's like, no, the whole point of the whole women's activist thing is not to try and look, not to try to look like a man, so that you can be treated like a man. It's we're looking at the whole like, oh, they get paid more or whatever. But a lot of the times the jobs that men do are a lot more physically excruciating. I think those deserve more pay than sitting at a desk or something like that. That's just me. But then again, there's other jobs where it's like neck to neck, man, woman, and men get it over the women because the men are more tied in or whatever. But it also happens the other way too. So it just kind of drives me crazy when the world goes into this whole like men women thing. And then, you bring along the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement kind of adds more divide between men and women, victimizes the women. The men seem like they're all these horrible people when just as many men have been violated. And no, not just gay men. I just heard somebody's head just say that. Yeah, probably gay men. No, it's like, see the way that people think and the way that people act about gender is what's causing our children to not want to be the gender that they are. So, sorry, Marla, using you as an example. Marla's son is confused. He doesn't know whether he wants to be a boy or a girl. A long time ago, we found this little girl in his field that had attached to him when he was like 3 months old or something, and it just happened to be the day that Marla's husband's father passed away. So they were at the hospital. So there's a very huge opportunity for a dead little girl to find her way over to something that she saw as the light, which is God. We are God until we're about 3 years old, and just kind of go in there. And once a spirit goes into our field, that imprint is there forever until somebody like me removes it through subconscious reprogramming, quantum healing, Reiki, self-awareness, counseling, all this stuff that we can do in order to get rid of these things. And then still they can come back if there's a desire to want to not be the gender that you are. So he's got an older brother that much, much older. He's nothing like him. So in his eyes, it's probably like, oh, well, I'm not going to be like Mason. And plus men are dumb and this and that, because Marla went through a phase with Mark where she just was very controlling. She was stay at home. He was working. And she realizes that now, and she's worked on herself, and she's like an amazing person. She always has been. But, when it comes to our relationships, that's where we turn into like kind of like monsters. So tonight we're doing a class about men and women. It's going to be called, I have it titled Intuition Relationships, because I've been dealing with a lot of relationships. Like every single client I've had lately has been relationships. And it is just like beyond me how people can project so badly and just not see who they are. It's like, well, he's selfish and he's rude and he's this. And I'm going like, I kind of thought that you were selfish and rude from the second I met you, but maybe you guys both are, so it's like, we really need to start to take a look at our interpersonal relationships at home, because just because we are ascending, hold on, let me fix this stupid camera and make it straight. I think Scott just got here. Hold on. Got to set up for class. Hold on. Let me just twirl this little. There. I'm still. Well, there's my car. And I'm a little bit crooked, but I'm not going to let my perfectionist in me freak out over it, even though it kind of is. Watch this. There we go. Straight. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know how it is in other countries. I know in other countries, it's a lot different with men and women. And I can only speak for me here, a California girl who's barely ever left Encinitas. I've left California like 9 times in my entire life. And it was only for like a couple days. One of them was for like my senior trip. But I mean, I really don't leave here. So my view on life is very different. We live in a very, 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 very white town. Like a lot of my friends that are, other ethnicities, they come into town, they go like, is there anybody other than like white people here? I'm like, yeah, Mexicans. It's just a very little tiny town. Like you pass by it in one exit, like you pass by on the freeway and it's like, oh, there's Encinitas. Oh, now it's gone. But it's a very spiritual town. You go down like a few more exits and it's like all like Asian people. So all the neighborhoods here are all very like racially dispersed, but I don't think it's for like racist reasons. It just is, it's like, I was listening to this thing this one time, I think it was Carolyn Mize, and she was talking about how people who are similar flock together, and she had a class not knowing that there was going to be this huge Mary Kay thing and there was going to be this other thing, and there are these huge conventions, like 7 of them. And interestingly enough, all of her people found each other over in a corner and were talking. By the time she had figured out like what room she was in and everything, they had all found each other, none of them knowing each other. So it's just like the frequencies gather together. So depending on whether you were raised in a family where what dad says goes, which is how Jeff was raised, and I'm like, yeah, what dad says does not go, because I'm here more than him. I can't live by rules that are not my own. So I've been having issues with that. It's like, so do our kids need to be raised by 2 separate like rule standards? Or because he's not willing to budge, I'm willing to budge, but he won't budge. All the way down to like, they can't have a bottle anywhere other than sitting right at the table. And I'm sorry, but I like to have my water wherever I go. And if it's not going to spill, I'm going to take it with me. So that is like literally me and Jeff's fight lately. Whether they're allowed to take their drinks into other places of the house. I mean, how stupid is that? That's so stupid, right? Stupid. Very, very stupid. So instead of like being, oh, yay, I'm so happy you're home and I want to hang out with you and, let's watch a movie together, we argue about the freaking cup and the water spilling and him coming back off and making our kids OCD. And I don't want them to be OCD because him and his dad and his brother were all OCD. And, I just saw the effects that happened to just people with OCD, and it's just not cool. It's just a lower vibrational energy. So men, this is the key for tonight, are becoming more intuitive now that the planet shifted on the 18th. So women, what's happening is we are literally 3 people. So we're our awareness, and you're probably hearing your old self thoughts go through your head. You probably think you're going crazy. And you're like, oh my God, why did I just think like, oh, I'm just going to go out and party all night long, or whatever. When like you're a mom of 7, you go to church now, you don't party anymore. But like, it's like, or, oh yeah, I'm going to go to the strip club and make money. Like, yeah, no, you don't do that anymore. Not as of 30 years ago. But what's happening is all the pieces of us that we like shoved down and we assumed, oh, my vibration's too high to be affected by my old self. And plus I'm not around old people, places and things. I've worked on my ego. I do Reiki. I do this. I do that. I actually heal other people. Big deal. The sickest people in the world can heal the healthiest people in the world. People are not brought to you because you are a saint. They're brought to you because you have an experience that you need to share with that person. So you healers, you literally just need to understand that you don't even need to be a good healer. If somebody's brought to you, it's because they're here to hear your life experience. And like I said to someone the other day, your life experience, the hurdles that you have gotten through is your curriculum. And then your life experience is your platform. It's what you're here to talk about. I don't talk about it a lot, but I'm an ex heroin addict. I was a heroin addict for 4 years, intravenous drug user. I did whatever I could to get money, not sexual stuff or whatever, but more just like hustling money, like from people and selling stuff and just very illegal stuff. And I, I went to jail for it. And people look at me and go, she's been to jail? Yeah, that's where I learned how to read people so that I could stay alive. I would look at their armband on their arm, them not knowing I knew Chinese astrology, and I'd be like, oh, so this is your quality, your type. This is how this is how you act, or this is the type of person you are. And they'd be like, girl, how did you know that? It's like, psychic. So they called me the psychic girl. I would like pretended to read their palms and stuff, so nobody messed with me because everybody thought that they wanted to get a reading. So I was like, okay. So that was back in 1999. So that was what, 21 years ago. That was a completely different me. Like that me does not exist anymore, but it does because it's back. That self is back. And I know that a lot of you guys are saying that your old selves are back. With the men, and this is what I'm going to channel about tonight, is the men are being affected in a different way. They are becoming more intuitive. I started a page called The Intuitive Guy. There's only 2 posts on it, and they were total like inside joke posts. Me and Jeff, I'll probably take them down. But it's basically like the real man and then the intuitive man. The real man equals the intuitive man. And then today's real man is the intuitive man. And then there's the conditioned by the world man, that like pisses you off and then leaves, comes back with flowers and expects to get laid 5 minutes later. That's like the conditioned caveman of society. And those guys are going away. But the thing is that that's all we see in them. And that's the problem. We see them the way our old self sees them. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. If anybody's watching this, just like hit a 1 that makes sense in some way, shape, or form. It's like, we need to be willing to let go of impressions of what our guys were or our exes. There's so many people that are getting a divorce that are so hung up on your divorce, and it was like 15 years ago. Yes, you have kids together. Yes, that's great. But you know what? You're traumatizing your kids by not getting along with that person. You need to learn to be an adult. I hate that. Don't say that ever again, Mary. I'm channeling Mary. You need to learn to be an adult, and we need to learn to not only be physically mature, like, oh, I get to work on time and I do this on time and I do this on time, but actually like spiritually mature. When you start to get in a fight with someone, ask yourself, how old am I right now? How old am I right now? And then ask, how old are they right now? And then say, how old am I spiritually? And how old are they spiritually? So basically you'll probably be 5 or 6. They'll be like 5 or 6, whatever, whenever they had the biggest trauma in their life and their spirit left, or they disconnected from their spirit because they didn't want to feel and know that they were God because they were down in this hell down here, not being able to, express themselves and just being under the rule of 2 idiots that decided to have sex and have you as a baby. We choose our parents, but they give bigger tests to give you a driver's license. Anyone can have a kid. So us as souls, we're kind of held captive to these parents, and we've chosen that reason. If they're narcissistic parents, great, you're going to grow up to be a narcissist, or you're going to attract narcissists. But what narcissists truly are is just supremely spiritually gifted people that shut down before their spirit could really, truly intertwine itself within. They are so empathic that they just went boom and stuck a big wall in front of their face. So all they can see is life from their perspective. So it's really sad, all the harsh talk about the narcissism and stuff like that, because those are actually spiritually gifted men and women that had a really crappy life experience when they were younger, so they had to shut down. So kind of look at it from that perspective. Look at it as like, oh my God, they're so sensitive that they can't even handle feeling my energy or anyone else's energy, to look from that perspective. So anyways, class is going to go on. I'm going to talk about men, women. I'm going to channel. We're going to do a meditation. Bring your hubby if you want to bring your hubby. I think Marla put a special price on if you want to bring your husband. because I do realize that you guys can just watch it for the one price because you get the one link, but then he won't get the healing. So you can either add a hubby scrubby onto your ticket tonight. So tickets are $25. We dropped it from 30 because class is only gonna be like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then tomorrow we do lunch with Marissa, and that's like gonna be all the class stuff because a lot of people just want to meditate and go. And I get that. I would never go to a 3-hour yoga class. I'd be like, screw you. I want to get there and go. Come in. Scott's here. So, all right, well, I'm going to set up for class, guys. I'll see you over on Zoom. Go to discoverintuition.com. The website will lead you over to the link. We're switching from Ticket Tailor over to Eventbrite. Thank you, Lord. I love Eventbrite so much more than this cheesy ticket thing that we've been using. I don't care if it costs more. But let's say yay for Marissa for taking back over her company. I'm taking back control of the company. Yeah. So anyways, but thank you to the people that helped to keep it alive while I was incapacitated with depression, sadness, all that good stuff for the last 2 years. So anyways, they're all still part of the company. I'm just taking Patreon back over. So anyways, I will see you guys every day on Patreon. I'm going to be posting stuff, doing live feeds, answering questions. So if you haven't been on Patreon, or if you used to be part of Patreon when it was good and then I left, try and go back over there. And we're going to do a special for the people that are returnees. I'm going to have a separate tier for you guys where you get lots of cool, juicy stuff to make it worth your while to come back and check us out. So anyway, sorry about the shaking of the camera, but you guys get the point. So bring your man or come ready to heal all your relationship stuff. If you're looking for a man, you're not going to find a man if you still have another man in your field because your field thinks you're already married. All right. Bye.